Alright guys, so today's build is going to be fun, interesting, weird, and different. This is the Gargoyle Hoof, of course made famous by Homeboy OC and Grim Green. I've wanted to try this build for the longest time. I'll be perfectly honest with you guys. I have been feeling really just kind of bored lately with building. I just don't want to build. I have no motivation, so yeah, let's just try this one out. I've got this brand spanking new Recoil RDA right here in a lovely shade of purple that I picked up at Midwest Vapor Expo from my friends over at Local Vape. So I feel like building on it, and what better build to put on a Recoil than something created by the creators of the RDA itself. So let's go ahead and grab our mod, our addy, our wire, our tools, our juice, all that good stuff. Let's go down to the close-up view and build it up. Alright guys, so let's have some fun with this one today. We've got this Recoil, this nice lovely purple Recoil that we're going to be building on today. And yeah, we're going to try out a Gargoyle Hoof. And I know it sounds funny, but I feel like we can make this one an actual functional, working, decent coil. So let's go ahead and get started here. So what you're going to need today is some 26 gauge for our core wire and 36 and or 38 for your outer wrap. I mean, in the video that they made, they kind of screwed up. They were going to use 36 gauge, but they ended up using 38 accidentally. So I don't know. I'm just going to put the spools upside down, and the first one I grab is going to be the stuff that we're going to use for this video here. So not sure what exactly it's going to be until we actually do it. So let's move this out of the way for right now. Let's get started here with some 26 gauge, and we're going to need about, I'd say, 2 feet or so of that. So we're just going to cut ourselves off a little piece here. Ooh. Another really cool thing is this guy here. This is my new bearing swivel, kindly gifted to me by a friend of mine, Jimmy. Really appreciate that, buddy. And yeah, he just wants to, see me do some really cool builds, and I'm learning a lot along the way as well. So we're going to get into some more intricate builds here, but today I just felt like having a little bit of fun. So let's go ahead and straighten out this wire real quick. So I realized that the video that was made by Grim Green and Homeboy was sort of a joke, it was kind of like an off-the-cuff little gag there, but I feel like we can make the Gargoyle Hoof into a functional coil, and hopefully the guys see this video and they like it, So maybe, depends on how it comes out, we'll see how this thing comes out. Hopefully we can get it to be an actual functional, decent, coil that people can build with, and just something pretty easy that any kind of builder could do, because, I mean, if you've seen that video of the original Gargoyle Hoof in the making, it's a pretty simple kind of coil. So, yeah, let's just fit this stuff right here, put the 2 ends in our drill. We'll tighten them down there real quick. And I mean, I will be kind of making my own little modifications along the way. I'm not going to build it 100% like they did in the video. So for instance, this is actually one of the first places where I'm going to throw my own little twist in there. I'm just going to run my fingers along the wire, just like a fuse clapped in here. Tighten everything up a little bit. I could leave it a little bit loose, I suppose, but then again, I really want this to come out good. I know it sounds silly for like a joke coil or whatever, but I want to make this into a good functional coil. Personally, I don't care if the core wire twists up. All right, so I grabbed the 38 gauge first, so that's what we're going to end up building with. I want this to work. I want this to be an actual, reasonable coil that people can actually go out and build. I feel like it deserves its place in our industry. And my big question to you guys is, have you ever tried this? Have you ever tried a Gargoyle Hoof coil? I really want to know if anyone out there has done this before. So, with that, I've just put my 38 gauge in the chuck of the drill. We're just going to get this started here real quick like that. And basically the name of the game right now is we're just going to go back and forth a few times with this 38 gauge until basically I feel like it's finished. I really don't know how long it's going to be. I mean, again, in the video, Nick went halfway and then went back and then halfway and then back and all that stuff. But this is going to be my own interpretation of the Gargoyle Hoof. So let's just see how this turns out. So I know at some point the real trick to the whole thing is you have to blow some vapor at it as you're doing this whole process. So I'm just going to spin it real quick as I blow some vapor on it. I think that ought to do the trick. So now what we can do is separate this from the actual spinner rig here, just like that. Just clip that wire. I don't even know how many times I went back and forth. Probably about 6 or 7. I don't know, maybe more than that. Yeah, so yeah, that is looking pretty good so far. I mean, honestly, it doesn't look half bad, just, you know, kind of looking at this stuff up close. But next up is you got to twist it. So we're just going to grab it by one end here, and we're just going to twist the crap out of it. So let's do that. All right, now it looks kind of like a wiry mess, which is appropriate. Yeah, it's actually looking like the real deal here, I feel like. So next step is we got to flatten this wire. So I'm just going to grab something flat with my hammer, and I'm going to go down the entire length of it. So as it turns out, the only thing that I have available to me to, you know, hammer anything on is actually in the bathroom. So I just did that real quick, hammered it flat on both sides, and we're looking pretty good. I don't know, I think it might be time for another dose of vapor here, so let's do that again. All right, much better. Okay, so I think we're ready to wrap today. I feel like we should do this on, probably 2.5 millimeters. So let's go ahead and grab our jig. You know, special occasion here. You're doing a really special coil, so we're going to do it with a special size. And I feel like that might actually make it fit a little bit nicer in the recoil. So let's see, how many wraps? With this thing here, I'm going to guess somewhere around 6. We'll try it at 6 wraps real quick. 1, 2, 3. It's not looking bad, I gotta say. 4, 5. It kind of looks like fuzzy. If that makes any sense, I don't know. I'm going to leave the leads a little bit extra long in case I need to add an extra wrap here. So we're going to cut it right around there. That should do us. And we'll do another coil here, so another 6 wraps. All right, well, we've got our coils all set at least. Very interesting looking coils, very peculiar. Let's see if we can get a good close-up shot of those. Beautiful, beautiful, if I do say so myself. So we're going to build it right the correct way. Hopefully this can all fit in here. I'm going to have to trim off a little bit of this mashed up wire at the very end. I think we should, this should work. This should work. Oh, it's going to be close, you guys. It's going to be close. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. This is Snag City right here. Absolutely Snag City. Oh, God. This is a pain in the balls for sure. Hopefully it'll all be worth it in the end here. Just get that snugged up real good. Bend over our wire. Bend it up a little bit. Snug it up here. Try to center it a little bit, just a tad. All right, so we're just going to tighten this one down. I feel like this is probably going to be the easiest way to do this one. Just tighten it down, like so. Put our bit back through, grab our pliers, and then just tighten it from the top here, just like that. We go. Tighten this one down. All right, that sucker's in there. Whew, cutting it close as far as the build space is concerned, but I think we'll be all right once we get everything worked out here. Yeah, it looks pretty decent, I've got to say. I'm actually going to do the second one off camera because that was such a pain in the ass, so jump cut. Alright guys, so I just wanted to throw it on this RX Gen 3 real quick just to check the resistance, and I did a tiny bit of pre-firing just to raise up that resistance a little bit. Now, word of warning before we go any further, I just wanted to warn you guys that this 38 gauge is extremely fragile, so if it does end up breaking, you might end up stabbing yourself in the finger, so just be very careful if you did want to replicate this at home. So currently our coils are sitting at 0.12 ohms, and just did a little bit of tweaking here and there, just a tiny bit of tweakage there. So with that, we're just going to continue this process real quick and continue making sure our coils light up evenly. So just kind of pinch and pulse like normal, I suppose. Make sure those coils don't touch the posts. Just try to move them away from the post as much as you can here. And also double check the bottom. So bottom of your atomizer well here, the juice well is what I'm trying to say. Double check your juice well. Make sure no wire kind of found its way down there. You don't want anything touching any of the posts. There we go, just like that. Little tiny pulses. Don't want to go too nuts with these ones. I don't know how they're going to behave. These ones are going to be tough to strum too, considering they're, you know, a big wiry mess, but we're going to give it our best shot here. I feel like these aren't going to need much adjusting, considering basically it's a big load of crap. I guess that's the best way to put it. It's a big jumbly mess, so hopefully they'll end up just kind of firing evenly on their own without much work. And I feel like we're getting there already. We're at 83 watts, by the way, on this one. So double check our screws here real quick. Really want these things really tight. There we go. Look at that. That's beautiful. For a wiry trash pile, that's pretty darn good. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be really fun. All right. A couple more little tweaks here, and I think we'll be ready to wick this thing. Not sure what our final wattage is going to be. This is ridiculous. I can't even believe I'm attempting this right now. Actually, you know what? I think it might be time for one last vapor here. There we go. I think that did it. Let's go ahead and wick it. Alright guys, so it's the moment of truth. Let's see if this thing can make some vapor. Whoa! We got some crazy sparklers there, but it does make a fair amount of vapor. So let's go ahead and go back to the main screen, have a quick vape on this thing, and we'll talk about it some more. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed the build. Now let's talk about the Gargoyle Hoof coils that we put in our recoil. And yeah, the final post-fire resistance came out to 0.17 ohms. I'm hitting it on the hex ohm at just under 50%, and there's a reason behind that. Normally, I would hit it about 75%-ish with this sort of resistance coil on the hex ohm. However, this has to do with our first category, which is, of course, the heat. The heat on this one is hot. It's a scorcher of a coil once these things get going. Now, if you're one to take a 2 to 3 second pull, it's not going to be bad. But if you're up there towards the 5-6 second drag mark, yeah, this thing gets really, really hot. And I would just, you know, I'm just warning you guys right now, if you're not one to enjoy a hot vape, then probably avoid this or leave your voltage or wattage on the lower side. So my second category, of course, is the ramp up and ramp down time. The ramp up time is pretty much like 2 to 3 seconds. These coils take quite a while to get going. going. And I mean, there's a lot of mass to these coils. It's a lot of wire. They're big, chunky coils, and it does take quite a while for these things to get going. So expect about a 2 to 3 second ramp up time. And let's just go ahead and take a puff off of this thing real quick, and we'll check out the ramp down. So I'm pleasantly surprised to tell you guys that the ramp down time on this particular coil is on the lower side. It's only about 2 to 3 seconds, which I am completely blown away by, because you would think with such mass in this wire, you know, all that twisted, gnarly wire all bunched up together, you would think it would be one of those coils that holds the heat in really well. But in actuality, 2 to 3 second ramp down time, which is actually slightly below average, which is awesome. So there you go. Moving on to my third category, which is the difficulty of this build. Honestly, even if you screw this one up, it's going to be a win. I don't think you can possibly screw this one up. You just kind of run your wire back and forth all willy-nilly. There's really no rhyme or reason to it. And I mean, it's a joke coil. It's kind of one of those niche joke kind of gag coils, if you will. It's hard to take this build seriously, but at the end of the day, you're seeing it right here, guys. This actually does work. It is a functional coil, and I feel like it has a lot of potential. So if any of you serious coil builders want a challenge, you know, try making a neat Gargoyle Hoof coil, and that ought to be a lot of fun. I really want to see some cool looking coils out there that are kind of the neater version of the Gargoyle Hoof. I really think that would be quite the challenge, but in any case, very easy on the difficulty scale. Like I said, even if you screw this thing up completely, there's really no wrong way to do it. And for my final category, which is the flavor on this build, today I'm vaping some of this Blazberry, which is of course my own line. And I know this flavor inside and out, back and front, upside down, and every which way in between. And I gotta say, it's pretty darn good on here. I was kind of surprised by how good the flavor is, but at the end of the day, it's all about that surface area, and there's a lot of wire touching juice. So when it comes to the flavor on this one, it's really darn good. I'm very, very happy with the flavor. The cotton's already pretty much broken in. I'm getting a nice clean flavor, no burnt taste, and no weird aftertaste or anything like that. So yeah, really, really, really good flavors. So that about does it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Don't forget to click that notification bell right next to the subscribe button if you want to be alerted whenever I upload videos. Also, leave me some comments in the box below. I'd love to hear your thoughts all about the Gargoyle Hoof coil. I'm sure you guys are going to have tons of questions, but with that, don't forget to also check out the advocacy and my social media links in the box below. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and as always, vape on!